everyone. So today we looked at a few pieces of artwork by French painter Rene Magritte, and we talked about how Rene Magritte's works were examples of Surrealism. That was the movement in which he created his art that he's very famous for. So we looked at a bunch of his paintings, and we talked about how they're examples of Surrealism, how what he created defines Surrealism. And so we looked at a bunch and we picked out things that didn't make sense to us, or things that we would never naturally see, or things that would never naturally happen. So for instance, this painting we did look at, and we discovered that there's a train coming out of the fireplace. Well, that would never naturally happen. So that's an example of Surrealism, something that doesn't quite make sense, something that we would only imagine, maybe dream, that we would never, that you probably wouldn't see every day. And so we're going to start today by creating our own surreal drawing. And so as we get started with this, the first thing I want you to do is to come up with one object. So it can be any object. It can be anything from something around you that you could look at and draw, or it could be your shoe, it could be a food item like a piece of pizza or a bag of Doritos, it could be your hand, it could be whatever. And I want you to start, first of all, you need a piece of paper and a pencil to start. I'm using a Sharpie so that you can see a little bit better what I'm creating. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to choose an object, and I'm going to draw that object on this piece of paper. And you want to start by drawing that object as realistically as you can. Okay? So in a minute you should be able to figure out what object it is that I'm drawing. And I picked this just because I saw it on the wall, and there it is. It's an electrical outlet. Okay, well, this picture isn't really a surreal picture yet because it's just an outlet on the piece of paper. And if I'm going to finish this like I normally would, Mrs. Masita would, I'd probably put it on the wall, or I'd have something plugged into it. But we're not working like a realistic artist, we're working like a surrealistic artist, a surrealist. So we want to put this object in a place where it doesn't belong. So for instance, if we go back to this one, this train is not in a place where it belongs. Trains don't normally come out of fireplaces. So we want to put this electrical outlet into an environment where it doesn't belong. So I'm going to start by turning this, maybe you can tell what I'm doing with this. I'm creating a building out of this electrical outlet. And I'll put another, and I'm going to build an entire environment around this. And you'll notice I'm going to put another building, and I'll continue to add detail to this. And I'll add all of the windows, and I'll make an entryway like you might see in New York City, and then I'll start to add other details in the environment around it. Maybe I'll make more buildings over here on this side. Okay, and I'm just going to do this really fast. So you notice that already my electrical outlet, it doesn't fit in. I would never find an electrical outlet that big in the middle of the city, or that big anywhere. I'll put some mountains in the background. And so I could continue to create this environment and build this environment around this one object so that when I look at this, it's not hard to figure out what doesn't fit in. Just like it's not hard to figure out what object doesn't belong in this picture. So you're going to begin this process simply by choosing one object, whatever that might be, whether it's I don't want you to choose an electrical outlet, but maybe it's going to be an ice cream cone. Maybe it's going to be a bottle of ketchup. Maybe it's going to be a fish or another animal. So you decide what that object's going to be. You draw that object about the size of your hand on a piece of paper. If you're working on a smaller piece of paper, then you'll probably make that object a little bit smaller. And then you want to figure out where you can put that object so that it doesn't belong. All right, so have fun with that, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.